We live? Hi, everyone. Welcome. Metaphysical Mama here. How's everyone doing? Welcome if it's your first arrival, and welcome back if you're recurring, hanging out again. Just gonna give a little tuning bowl, clear the energy. How's everyone doing today? Right now it's 11:10 a.m. I'm just going to I was kind of like pondering before I came on, and wasn't quite sure what I was going to talk about because I never really do. And when I try to plan it, I end up getting, just for a high second. I get, bumped with 111 as 111 in, and it's 11:10. And the page I happen to open to in this book is also 111. So 11111. This book it's the Peace Lagoon. I was gonna read a little. I happened to open it up, and now it's 11:11. Started reading it, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll share this, and then we'll just go from there. So let me turn down my music. That might distract me a tad while I'm reading. I got Zeppelin on in the background now. Excuse me, Ted Nugent. Okay, so this is, and I may pronounce words completely off, and forgive me if I do. So I'm going to put it back down this way. Let's see. It says Guru Gobind Singh. There is one creator of the creation. Victory is the supreme Lord's. Having traveled far and wide, I have seen the Saravags, Suds, Siddhs, Yogis, and Yatis in their own dwelling places. I have seen daring demons, demigods, who take nectar as their food. Numberless saints of various sects. I have seen the religions of all the countries, yet none seemed to be of God. Without the living presence of the love and grace of God, they are not worth even the tiniest seed. Some mighty ones have possessed proud elephants, beauteous and unparalleled, adorned in bright colors and golden ornaments, and millions of horses that bounded like deer and ran faster than the wind. And before them, the kings of great armies bowed, yet reflecting upon all of this greatness, in the end, they all departed this earth with their feet bare. They marched victorious throughout their conquered lands, with drums beating, beauteous elephants trumpeting, thousands of royal horses neighing. Such powerful rulers have existed in the past, present, and future in countless numbers. Yet in the end, they all depart to their final resting place without having remembered God, the master of Maya. Many are those who bathe at sacred places, do merciful deeds, perform austerities, and specific disciplines. There are those wise ones who read the Vedas and Puranas, the Quran, and all the books of the earth and the sky. I have thoughtfully observed thousands who live only on air, who are celibates and ascetics. But without the song of God, even the sovereign king is worth less than the tiniest seed. Expertly trained soldiers, strong and excellent physique, protected by coats of armor, may bring destruction to the enemy. and filled with determination, they may move mountains and themselves remain unshaken. They may break the enemy, wring the necks of the rebels, and crush the fury of proud elephants. Yet they will depart in the end, leaving the world and its wealth. Without the great master's grace, all will have been in vain. Countless are the heroes, brave and mighty, who face the edge of the sword without hesitation, who subdue entire nations, who crush rebels and bring down proud elephants, who break impenetrable forts, and by the power of their words conquer the four corners of the world. Yet the great master is over the heads of all. The beggars are many, and the giver is only one. And welcome one who's here. Hi. So happy you're here. Let's see. Demons and gods, serpents and ghosts shall repeat God's praises in the past, present, and future. Sorry, I'll take a little sip of my tea there. All the beings of land and sea are every moment established by thee. Their good deeds and their glory shall be increased to the beat of the drums, while their multitude of sins shall depart. Then the gathering of disciplined ones shall again occupy the world. And upon seeing them, the enemy shall depart. Woo, woo. Those beings who are kings, masters over elephants and men, who rule over the three worlds, who perform millions of ablutions, who give elephants as gifts, who win brides through valorous contest. They, along with Brahma, Shiva, Vishnu, and Indra, shall all be caught in death's noose at the end. But if a being were to touch the feet of the great master, then he would not assume this human form again. Of what use is it to sit with closed eyes, meditating like a crane, wandering and bathing in the seven seas? One loses this world and the next, sinking into self-indulgence. One's life is lived in vain. All should listen as I tell you truly. That person who loves alone knows God. There are those who worship idols, placing them on their heads. Others hang the stone lingam around their neck. There are those who perceive God to be in the south. Others perceive him in the east. Some worship idols and some worship the dead. All the world is entangled in meaningless rituals and knows not the inner workings of God. That was deep. So that was that. Pretty powerful and deep. Thanks for hanging and sharing that with me. Wow. Yeah, that was like I just started to read it right before I popped on. I didn't finish. I was like, I'm gonna share it. I'm gonna share it with the crew. And yeah, that was great. Right. And that's kind of what's going on now too. Again, it's like, learning to, I think I wrote it in the description there, balance out by trusting our inner compass, which is so tricky and it's so scary. And it's like, um, but it's that buoyancy point that, right, the sign of the cross, right, where the atom, this is the heart chakra, right? And like what this just said, those that don't know love, if you know, those that know love are the ones that know God. Because we're not coming from so much judgment, right? It's like the judgment or the anger that comes from right in here is from all the pain and suffering that we're seeing that's so unnecessary. Like all the world is entangled in meaningless rituals, right? Certain things happen naturally, and then there's a difference between right wanting and right that the force of that energy of right if we're coming from the feeling of lack and then we're feeling fear and panic, right? Like we have a pandemic. So if something's thrown at us, like, watch out, right? The sky is falling, and we go running, and then right now we get, right, say hit by a car, right? Because we went running without paying attention and being more, right? Like sometimes right? Again, say this in a lot of videos, just because the crosswalk sign is saying walk, right? 11:11 is what we're saying. We still look both ways, right? Before, whether I'm driving or walking, I always look both ways. And if I have someone else with me, an animal, a child, etc., I'm even more protective and right cautious, right? So we have to remember our inner child and how we would treat another child and treat ourselves that same way. That's how we kind of come back into the body, right? It's like if we kind of got ejected out. So like part of us is, missing. So we're gathering our fragments, right? The pieces of our soul or, and there's so many different ways that we can like look at this, right? And depending on how we where we're coming from, how we look at it, is going to be either right, like, okay, there's going to be some scary stuff, but then you balance it out. It's like, ooh, right. But then you gather that energy, and then this is master alchemy, right? How are we handling the thoughts or the feelings or the words, right, that are either being repeated within ourselves, right? Taking the time and the space, which I'm gonna actually read about. I have time pulled up here and money, the etymology and the metaphysical meaning. I think there's two for time, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm gonna get into that a bit. And just having more awareness and more, right, looking for questioning everything so we ourselves have more, we're building upon, right, our roots, or no, we're building upon our roots, our tree of life that you're right, that your our soul, who we are, is walking around in our physical vessel, in our human body, right? Everything's all mixed together, right? Is like right, master metaphysics, right? So everything, like Einstein said, right? Everything is relative. Like we're all related, right? The law of one, all interconnected. We're all intrinsically intertwined, right? So quantum mechanics and quantum physics, right, operates no matter how far, right, two are apart. There's like a signal going, right? And it gets much deeper than that, right? This is like getting into our interstellar, our interdimensional selves, right? And allowing, again, that tree to bloom. But we can't force something to grow, right? Or expect that it's all going to be the same for all of us, right? Everybody, it's like growing up when we're all little, everybody, goes through puberty at different times, right? Voices change and all the awkwardness that comes along with it, whether you're a boy or a girl, right? A male or a female, right? An Adam or an Eve, as far as, right, our physical bodies go, etc. That's what I talk about too, right? The first Adam and then the second Adam and Eve. We are now coming to a point in time where we were born Adam and Eve's from our Adam and Eve mothers into physical human form. So we're like, right, but so our soul as a baby is like open, our brain is like a open sponge, completely clear slate, right? So until we start, in our family being dressed and told what to, right, and all the stuff that we go through, we were born, which is extremely traumatic, extremely traumatic, right? For a mother and for a child, the baby that's going through birth, right? And like the beginning of Genesis and what have you, that's all regarding like inside the womb of the mother, right? Inside so it's like the genes of Isis, the genes that are collaborated, that are multiplying within the human vessel that's carrying, right, the other you, us, whatever, right, the fetus that's multiplying, right, which isn't linear. So that's the, right, the divine, the darkness of the divine feminine multiplies, right, in the darkness of the womb, right? Oh, shit, that. So when we relate, right, the micro to the macro, relating ourselves to the experiences of such natures, which we are going through presently right now in this now moment in time. It's just, right, the variables are different. And that's what we're calling, right, the V words, right? Which is really just the double helix upgrading, right? The Kundalini rising into triple strand DNA. Right. So as we're growing, right, blooming, we're allowing ourselves to grow, right? Like I have a lotus flower here, or a pine cone. I strongly suggest, like, look up the symbolism to things, right? Like a picture says 1,000 words, right? Like the spiral, all my science and math, right? This has to do with the golden ratio and the Fibonacci sequence, right? The spiral, everything that's birthed is birthed in the dark and multiplies and spirals, right? Before it creates a whole one, right? Plutonic solid, before we create a solid. So where else is going? And please like, subscribe, and hit the belly bell so you can get notified when I pop on as well. And please share. And I know the comments are on. I don't really check them. I don't really check all that stuff. So anything that's kind of I haven't responded or checked anything. So if anything that's on there, I gotta look. But yeah, I think I noticed one thing on one of my comments had like a link or something, and it looked kind of corrupt to me. So I didn't click on it. So I would suggest not clicking on that shit, because people like to troll and place things. So we try our best to like whatever it happens. So again, like I say in all my videos, right? Kindly take what resonates and leave the rest. So if something feels like, yeah, it's a little weirder, I don't know what, right? It's like, just leave it alone. It's like, then, yeah, just don't, yeah, it's like, don't know, you don't touch it. We ain't got to engage. It's just like, so, I'll play that by right here, like a corn, and we'll see. But, yeah, like I said, I really don't have so much awareness of what the other beings are really doing. But I do on occasion, it comes into my fields of energy. So it's like I have awareness, but or I see little things here and there and what have you. But time will tell. Speaking of time, shall we get into it? Actually, I'm gonna pull a card first. I'm gonna pull a map. Give these little I wanted to come out right away. Oh, we got a new romantic cycle begins. right? Is it maybe loving yourself? Making sure you put you, where's my finger? First. All that good at the mirror thing. I'm like, I go the wrong direction. I'm like a squirrel trying to remember where it left its nut and not get hit by that car. Don't listen to everybody telling you to cross the street or say it's okay to walk. And sometimes, right, again, timing is everything, and that's wisdom. So it might be all right. Sometimes, again, we're all blooming and, right, what have you, at different times and different moments in time. Different things are going to, right, blossom up, come up out of the deep, murky waters and show their ugly heads. Some things are kind of nightmarish, right? So it's like, blah. Well, we got to take a look at that too. And again, it's like if we have a child or someone that has a night, what are you going to say to them? Right? Talk to yourself the same way. Treat yourself that same way. It's like, wait. Breathe in and out. Right? That's our first duality. Right? Going back to the Adam and Eve being a baby human with a clean slate. Right? We're born from the amniotic sac, which is right in utero is liquid. So we don't start breathing air, and we're in gestation for it's almost 10 months, not 9. So and that's our, again, your natal chart is so important. That's when your soul decided, right, with the souls of the family that we were born into the physical realm, right? We made that decision. Our soul made that decision. So that's why our natal chart comes into play and is so important. Luck is on your side. New moon in Sag. Arrows of love. What we got in the bottom? Conclusions are within reach. This card just keeps coming. It was just 2 in. Conclusions are within reach. Right? We just have to do the work. And that starts with you. It starts with me. Right? It starts with us, with we the people. Right? What is that saying? It's like, if not now, then when? And if not you, then who? Right? If not me, then who? And if not now, then when? Right? The time is always now. So it's like the moment where it's like, okay, just that thought is an action. So it's like, I'm going to take that time and energy at least a few times a day to remember to breathe both ways equally. Right? Because again, coming from liquid then into air, that's our first duality. And it harms us, right? It hurts us. Babies cry when they're born, right? It's like, ah, right? So the father and Lil, father of the air, prince of the air, right? We get hurt from him as soon as we come out. So consciously in our subconscious, it's 11:33. Right, there can be a, right, and that affects how we perceive, right, things to be, right? And perception is a tricky thing, right? There's so many angles to come from, right? So remembering to balance our air, breathe in and out past the gut. And then once you get more accustomed to practicing with your breath, you start to actually learn to breathe, like not so much with the lungs here. We're still using them, but it's like you kind of use the back also. There's like almost have like another pair of lungs, like the lungs work in the back too, right? I don't really know how to do that. You are very close to achieving your goal. I love that card. So pretty. Meditate and contemplate. And yeah, that's what I'm just saying. So taking that time, just if it doesn't mean you have to sit in, some meditation mode and for, Yes, can you and should you? Yeah. I mean, it's like even just a few minutes sitting, right? Getting in tune with your inner self, along with the environment that you're right that within, and the environment you're living in, your house, work, right? Wherever you are in that now moment, right? It just takes a second to like recenter and realign and like, okay. Because as soon as you say so, it is. It's like, wait a second, I need a little clarity and balance here. What's going on? Take a breath. Right. And then you're doing what you need to do in order to, right? You're making progress. You know, can't build, right? Even God, they said, didn't build the whole world in one day. Took a whole week, right? Look at the bigger picture. Full moon and Sag. What are we coming into? Full moon and what? Is it Cappy Caps? I think it might be full moon and Cappy. I gotta double check. I'm not sure. What I just do here, I backwards myself. A time to give rather than take. Okay, so I'm just gonna read about time here. Fill you in on the etymology of what it says. I knew I did it wrongity wrong. Bump, bump, bump. Bear with me, please. Okay. So, time, metaphysics, just quick here because I have this top first. Time signifies the measure of events. The events are the main thing, and they should always be so recognized. Else, the measure of them assumes undue importance, right? So if we're not acknowledging our present now moment and right being in it, but we're still worried about time, well, then this moment doesn't really matter, right? That's why some of this stuff is super tricky, but then not. It's like keep it simple. Um, so keep it simple. It's like KISS is a good acronym for keep it simple, stupid, keep it simple, silly. As I keep it simple, Sarah. They're all interchangeable to me. What we got? Oh, we got movement. Oh, and Ghostlands at the bottom as we approach into the fall. And number 17, 1 and 7 is 8. Right, and that's actually right. A lot of okay, a lot of our coasters say stuck, right? It's in a loop, right? Um, so we want to do our best to right free those who is energy. We don't want to block any energy unnecessarily that we might be blocking, right? Because of due to our fear or due to our ignorance, because we do not want to take part in right being open-minded and right and in our own evolution, right? This is a self free will, so it's very important to acknowledge your sovereignty and yourself as a divine being, because you are, right? You're a multi-dimensional light being made of the stars. The elements of the periodic table and what have you are made of all the other outer planets and elements of stardust, etc. Right. So and that's what we're all made of too. But we all have different elements in our in our cup, in our holy grail, in our body, in our vessel. That's what makes us all unique. Our natal chart is our blueprint, right? And then we have different elements, right? our motherboard, our flat earth, our motherboard, our electrical circuit that I just let shut off again. Tag it. And movement 28, 10, again. Do it again. 1 and 0, masculine and feminine. Balance. I'm gonna turn this one up. We got the Doors playing. LA woman. Well, I dig a little time about an hour ago. Took a look around, see which way the wind blows. Peaks of joy. With a little girl in a Hollywood bungalow. Strength. Balancing guitar. Now, 44. Another 8. A little love bubble. A little love. My little snow globe. And right, this can represent the atoms. We are an atom, and then we have all these different atoms traveling right inside of us that are all like little snowflakes. So all the little wordy words we think and we allow others to say over our living waters make these little snowflakes inside our bodies either turn to beautiful little snowflakes or like right. So we want to. It's like, oh wait, oh, raise your vibration. Oh, right. Use your imagination. Come from love and be playful. Right. And then allow yourself to go through the other feelings that you're feeling too, right? And incorporating, right? Past life, trauma. We all have, like literally everyone has PTSD. So there's a lot of things that are about to come out legally in the, right, say human realm, as well as that are being showered and rained down and right, adjusted and balanced. Right, all systems need to be in balance. Otherwise, right, so this is right, we came apart to come together. Right, so the law of one, but to right, have strength in the individual self and connect with, right, God wrote your constitution on your heart. So to connect with that inner compass, however, right, whether you're an atheist or it doesn't matter, however you see it fit to apply, right, it's about balance. And if we're not coming as a person from that balanced place and right, being that master alchemist and etc., then we're going to be off key, out of tune, right? And the magic bus is going to be like, right on by. Midnight alleys roam, and we all want to go home, and home is where the heart is, right? It's like a cheesy saying, but it's also not, because it's truth, right? Like coming from the heart chakra, the heart, from, right? This is my temple. Your body's your temple, right? Feed it well, right? Sometimes we're feeding our imagination, sacred pool. Sometimes, right? It's like, right, we got to balance everything out, right? And drink water, clean, alkaline water. Put a lemon in your water in the morning on an empty tummy. Do for 2 weeks. I challenge you to a duel. I challenge you, right? It'll re-alkalize your body and give you the pH, right? It's pH balances your body, realkalizes your body to a pH balanced state so that it's not full of acidic stuff. And you'll notice it, it's 11:44, the first day. And it's like, I drank lemon water a long time. Like, oh, I drink lemon in my water. But this is, you got it on an empty stomach when you wake up. You just get a bottle of like regular water, room temperature, because you want the same temperature as your body temperature. And you squeeze a whole lemon in the water On an empty stomach, you drink it. You put it in a mug, bottle of water. Don't worry about how tall, right? However, you're gonna squeeze a whole lemon in a cup on an empty stomach and drink it down and see what happens. And do that for 2 weeks and see how you feel. Just a suggestion, just something to try. Little things. And every little thing we do matters, right? It creates matter. Vibration creates form. A thought is a vibration. That's either positive or negative. So depending on which, right, way we decide to drive, right? Compass. Woo woo. As we were speaking of that inner compass. Ride the wave. I got Tim Morrison singing behind me. Whoa! Riding, riding. Ooh, goblins are about. Wandering eyes, number 5. That's right. Sometimes right. Wide open. Remember the movie The Labyrinth? And the goblins, the little goblins were following was it a dude? I haven't watched that in a long time, but I always remember that. They followed behind him and he tried to put stuff like or mark something with chalk. And they just came and like lifted up the flagstone and flipped it over. So they like he couldn't remember how to get back anyhow. Little troublemakers. Like I was discussing a little while ago earlier in the video, right? There's some little goblins and trolls. Some are right, and they're like some are like kind of harmless and just little pains in the asses, and some are a lot more right maleficent, or that's right, malicious. But again, just don't engage. It's like, right, if you see a dog, a dog that's barking, are you going to go put your hand in its mouth, right? It's like, so we do our best and we leave the rest, you know what I mean? Let's see. Oh, I did. I got it. I made it in. Okay, so etymology. And also, I did some research way back when, and a lot of, definitions that are written in the Oxford and Merriam Dictionary are not, the most valid. They kind of shove the deeper meanings or the original meanings at the bottom. Like if I didn't want you to I'd like put the one I want like on the bottom of the deck, mix it like it's like I wanna, and then give you the one on top, like yeah. Again, goblins. Gobble gobble gobble. Well, that must be why we pulled the turkey card the other day. Got Tom Petty playing it now. So let's see. This says, noun-wise, the indefinite continued progress of existence and events in the past, present, and future regarded as a whole, right? Traveling through space and time. So sitting right here, right? Is our brain the same as our mind? Right? Our brain is a receiver and our whole body is also a brain. All the little atoms inside are also like little mini brains or what have you also. So traveling through space and time, right? We do that within our minds while we're right sitting still. I'll fall and sit and actually sit with you. You never grow old. Okay. So yeah, we like right. How far can you travel in your mind? Oh, the places we can go. Remember, like Dr. loose and stuff. Oh, the places we can go. So, right, and think of the word imagination. If you break that down, right, image, right, in our third eye, image of a nation, right, and it projects an image, right? So our feelings plus our thoughts, when we sit and allow the time and space to connect, right, then we are, right, connecting with the whole. So we're allowing ourselves to be a receiver while being part of, right? When you get in your car and drive, you can't just sit in the car, right? It doesn't just automatically drive you, right? We have GPS and stuff now, which is awesome, right? We have internet and all this amazing technology that we're able to look how I can connect with you. Oh, hi, now we have two. Welcome. Um, the ability to be able to connect anywhere at any moment in time is amazing, right? Right, when we really break things down. So like etymology and metaphysics, or the metaphysical meaning of words, it's like the vibration, right? So instead of so much, that's what it means, right? These are meanings, right? So that's one way of looking at them, and meanings that we've applied to these words that we've invented throughout time, right? To make a language in so many different forms that we can all speak to one another in. But it gets very confusing, right? The confusion of what one of us says or thinks due to the nature of, right, who we are as a person, place, or thing, right? The experiences that we've had as an individual, right? So we're all going to have different meanings that pop up, right, when certain words are said or thoughts come through, right, our mind and head, right, they come traveling down and then pass through our fields of consciousness or arise within, right, with an emotion, which is, right, feminine. And then our thoughts are our atoms, right? There's two atoms, positive and negative, which are like linear. So it's like, and the feelings, right, is energy and motion, right? So it's energy, like the tide, right? This, I think the next thing I want to read about is the tides, if I'm not mistaken, but no, not yet. But I guess we'll come to that. But how time has to do with the tides, right? The push and pull, right, of gravity, of our ocean. So our body, right, internal in here, this is saltwater body, right? What we have ocean in here, right? And then this is like desert, kind of our lungs, right? And then up in our brain, up here, our brain is floating in water as well, but that's not salt water. And we can't drink ocean water in order to survive. Can't drink salt water. We could gargle with it and it helps us clean, right, things. Salt of the earth, right? It pulls moisture also from things. I've read the symbolism of salt too. I don't know. I'm gonna probably do another video on that because I won't have enough battery anyway. I'm gonna probably have to either move my phone, or I'm almost done anyhow. So let's see. My intuition guides me to the truth. High Priestess. So that's a lot of, right, internal, again, going into your intuitive knowing, how we're just talking about the moon, having to do with the moon and the tides, right? That's what raises, right, our ocean, right? It gets high tide, low tide, right? It gets wavy. So when our emotions get, right, out of hand, or we're experiencing many of them, we can get overwhelmed, right? And the swell. So now we have it's like the ocean's over, our emotions are over our head, our energy, it went flying out with all these thoughts. So we think we're just walking around clear, but we done ejected the building a long time ago, right? Like we're out of there. It was like, and we don't even know it. So then that's a lot of the reason too why people react with their right, like they get so angry, right, regarding right change, new theories, or they're not really new. This is all ancient. This is all ancient stuff. It's just right coming back up from under the right the underworld, the underground, from being buried, right? Navigators, buried, right? Hidden. Right? Apocalypse means revealing of truth. Occult means hidden. And any of them in the occult or what have you will say, where's the best place to hide anything? Or a parent. Where's the blessed? Where's the best place to hide anything? It's like in your face. Right? Right there. It's like it's all there all along. We just get misdirected and we get in our little tent. We're like, we got to go over here and do this. And you don't understand. We have to get this done, right? We have to go by our routine or be on our calendar. We have these things to do. Or this one did whatever, you know. So we acknowledge the stuff that's going on, right? However, right, to get too caught up into it, right? Like, don't forget, Jesus is a fisher of men, right? So, and they use lures, which are glittery, right? Little glittery. Yeah. Everybody's wearing masks right now, right? Masking it up. Or doobie doobie doo, pretending like everything's just whatever. So, you know, like the devil's masquerade. That's what's kind of been going on. Like, how fake can we be? We better do this. Like what we just read in the beginning. Right? It's like the misperceptions of right like I said, like many meaningless rituals done over and over, right? Definition of insanity is repeating the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. But I've had narcissist people say to me, and I'm just using that word because in this, it was like, because this was a narcissist thing to say. Absolutely. It was like, say, oh, I just lost my train of thought. Like, hold on. Oh, the mess. What was I saying? Damn it. That's what I get for talking shit. I was about to talk shit a little. They're like, I don't know what the hell they're about to say. Oh, you know that happens. It'll come back if it's necessary, right? Anyhow, but right, so but the devil's ball, the devil's masquerade, it's like it's part of the falseness of right what we're starting to right have the balls and the courage to be ourselves. Yeah. So it's like little by little we allow ourselves to bloom. But if anybody's forcing or making you feel uncomfortable, it's like no. We don't play that shit. It's like that's molestation and rape, but I don't care what anybody tries to say. That's the whole right? The fallen ones coming into the daughters of men. If we're innocent to something and don't have awareness of it, right? That's like others, right? Making something look good with false pretenses, but they already had awareness of something. So they were luring, again, talking about the flashy lure, right? So all that glitters ain't gold. And the flashy stuff is usually, right, kind of caution a little, just right discernment, discernment. So yeah, because again, our perception of what we are, what something is, may not be what yeah. That's the right. So like as we keep traveling through space and time in our minds, in the universal mind, throughout the right in the collective. It depends on how right you know we all have our own way of traveling, right? Some astral travel and like literally can see their body themselves floating over their bodies.
I can't do that shit. I think that's so super cool. Like I don't see that way. I'm like, see their own selves. Like that's really cool. um, so yeah, I'm really like blind to yeah. But I see I guess right esoterically. So I'm open, right, a channel. So it's different. It's like I allow right energy, I work with energy. So that's unseen. Um right? It's like when we close our eyes and connect our third eye to our heart chakra and also are able to ground, right? And then connect with internal and outer realms, right? It's like you become, right? We already are, but that's when we're connected, right? As this bubble of love, right? And it's like translucent, we're clear, we're in this clear frequency, right? It's a calm. So we're able then to process and receive what we need to see in that now moment in time, right? So that we're able to clear what we need to clear and see, see what we need to see, work with what we need to work with, clear what we need to clear. And then it's like, then allow it, let it go, detach with love. And then, right. And then we move on, my dear. Then we just keep swimming. I'm on my falls, just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. Yeah. And right, and rivers, fresh water. Think of like the different bodies of water, right? So in your mind's eye, right, it's like, okay, if you get stuck in like right, go where you feel safe. Think of elements that, right, brings, right, safety, right? Run like water, river runs through it, clear waters, right? Just ask for clarity and, right, like balance, right? So you have, right, again, control over your Vamana, which is you, right? We move through space and time in this physical body, and then there's so much more that we're, right, about to, right, discover and explore within ourselves and, right, remember, and adjust, right, adapt, evolve into. And we can't know what that is. It's like if we're, right, if somebody's pregnant, you don't know what your baby's going to be or how, or right, until, and then it's like, so we just know we love, right? We don't know all that other stuff that's going to come with it. We just know that we love, right? And that we're going to protect and care for, and right. So, and that's where, like, right, a mother is going to be very defensive over her children, right? Which is a way different, say, not predator, but right, a way different energy to fuck with than squabbling gossipers that are, fighting over a piece of meat, over something material, over something, right? Some other person, place, or thing that's like, right, that's completely a different set of, right, stats that we're working with. It's like tennis to rugby or something. I don't know. Right? Different sports, which again, right, being wiser to the game, in said court, they use legalese. And so when you walk on there, it's like you're walking into a pirate ship, and they done will like switch the books up. Like when they go like ding, recess, they're gonna be mad at me for saying this, right? Then they go from tennis to baseball. So then you think that they're still talking about tennis, but they done switched up the game. So they're like he behind the scenes. So, and they go so quick and they put pressure on, right? So that you feel like you don't have enough time to answer and you're already nervous. So that's walking up on the pirate ship, right? You're talking to the pirate trying to beg for like your part of the gold, right? It gets deep. I'm not gonna get too deep into that one. I think I said enough there for the moment, for the time being. Balancing act when I cut the deck there. So yeah, so let's read about time. I know I can get a little carried away sometimes, my mouth, but I let it fly, literally, right? So when spirit's coming through me, it's like I can't apologize. It's what's coming. What's coming through is what's coming through. I don't really take too much time into like looking so much into any person, place, or thing at all. I just allow, again, right? I just allow what needs to come to me does, right? So then that is what it is. All right. I work with it, and sometimes at first it's like, right, rah, and then right, it's like, okay, right, then we gotta right move. It's like I gotta put myself in positions, right, like where are they coming from, or what's right, what's going on, where what's creating this right friction or static or imbalance, right, in the systems, right? Because if it's affecting me, that's an imbalance in my system. If it's coming to me, it's in whoop. It's like, right, so then it's like, okay, right, ball of fire, hot potato. So, but don't hang on to it too long. We do what we do. You go to work, you do your job. Don't mix it, right? We try to not, we're supposed to not take home our work, but haha, right? Who gets paid, right? Like that does never balance out. So time's the focus today. I'll do money a different video. But time is money, and money is time, they say, right? A quote to ponder in the pond. Okay. So the indefinite, yeah. Continued progress of existence, we said that part, right? Of events past, present, and future regarded as a whole. The progress of time as affecting people and things, right? Things were getting better as time passed, progression of time, right? When we're able to see the statistics of, right, like graphs and what have you, statistics, right? Time or an amount of time as reckoned by a conventional standard. It's 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Right now it's 12:08 Eastern Standard Time on my side over here, supposedly, wherever, right? Wherever I am floating in the dark ether, showing up as a projected light being, right? A star being from many, many light years away, right? You are too. Right? How long does it take light to travel? Right? Speed of light years. Burning down the house. Who sings this again? I forget. I have some old school music on. Fighting fire with fire. Okay, the personification of time, typically as an old man with a sip and an hourglass, right? Father time, which too, I say that often in videos. It's like, right, when people say, right, I don't have enough time, never enough time, trying to, right, KILL time, it's like, yay, don't like, right, because it is an entity also. So, right, it's like, we're like, yeah, tongue is a little tricky, but it's not like, right, like, but yeah, we just want to just be a little more aware of like where we're coming from and the shit that gets spit out of our double slit tongues. We all got our negative shit where we spit shit out, or right, venom, or go hold on to yucky feelings or whatever and carry them around, right? So then we're carrying around, we're a carrier of disease. Because the only reason for disease is discord. So if we're carrying, right? So it's not like, oh, we're so bad. A lot of time, it's just we're unaware what the fuck we're doing. Or we, right, are unable to let go of some of the load, right? We've grown the ability to not trust. So, or, it's like, do you need help? No, we're fine. A lot of us, people rather do shit themselves, get it done. And then we say we don't have enough time. A point of time as measured in hours and minutes past midnight or noon. All right, we're in a second, number 2 now. There's a lot here. I didn't realize, I haven't done this in a while. A point of time, okay, a moment of definite portion of time allotted, used, or suitable for a purpose. Favorable, appropriate time to do something, the right moment, it was time to go. An indefinite period, traveling always distorts one's feelings for a time. A more or less definite portion of time in history or characterized by particular events or circumstances. Victorian times, right? And now we're coming into a new paradigm, right? So this is also, right, the end. A little, sorry. The end times, right? Or end of a specific time, right? It's the end of a cycle. So again, right, apocalypse means revealing of truths. Occult means hidden, right? So this is right, and or revelations also. That word means revealing of truth, right? So it's like the picture is coming more clear, but that can be really scary, right? So, but fear also represents false evidence appearing real, right? The acronym for fear. Or fuck everything and run. We get so scared, we're like, ah! Right? Or it can make us so uncomfortable. It's like, ugh, like, right? So we back away from it, which again is okay. When we're not ready, it's like then it's premature to us. So again, coming into the doors of men, if we're not ready, we're not ready. So it's like we allow. It's like, oh, okay, right? I'm a teacher in a class. Certain kids aren't going to be ready for certain things as others are, right? So, and we're all children. So we all have to have that respect for ourselves and one another, right? We're all children of God, right? Children, again, like we were reading this, like at the end, right? God owns your soul. Not that you can't buy and sell that. He's like, ah, like, what's that saying? Man makes plans and God laughs. It's like, that was cute, but yeah. Right? So it's like, but we're like, thank you, but. So, and God is right. It's like being in tune with the right balance vibration of the whole, all the systems. So we just want to do our best to like, right, create harmony. Nobody's perfect. We're all perfectly imperfect. We're gonna fuck up. We're gonna make mistakes. We're gonna hurt ourselves and others, right? Hopefully not with the intention of doing so. Again, right? So again, and ones that have intention of creating harm, right? Like I need a big fucking hug or a timeout, you know? 12, 13. So let's see. Condition of life during a particular period. Times having changed, like we were just saying. And the only constant is change, right? And change holds weight. If you think about that money wise, right? Coins have weight to them, right? Dollar bills are like, you can have a thick stack, but they all weigh the same, whether you have a 20, 100, a 55, right? Single. They just have different magnetic ferrofluid that runs through them, that iron magnetic fluid. And then that takes part of our electromagnetic currency of ourself. Every time we exchange it, it pulls a little part of us. It's like, remember that if you ever do that, like pretend you're pulling a needle and thread through your hand, and if you feel the thread pulling, I don't know, it like this. But so you pretend like if there's a needle and thread, I could feel it when I do that just now. Right, so it takes a little bit of our energy. So that's also another like saying, part of one of the sayings and meanings of, right, chasing the dragon. Because little bits of it, it's like a little bit of us is like, so it's like, why do people get so excited when they see money? Or right? um Making my thing turn on. Yeah. I really honestly want to get into the metaphysical meaning, more so, because this is quite long. What else do we have? The New York Times, used in names of newspapers, which also, right, newspapers are things that are written with what? Ink, right, with either a printing press or, right, or report, we write with man's hands, or back in the day, typewriter, but ink, right, and ink used to come from a bird, a quill, or octopus, right, ink goes into like Cthulhu and squid. um so octopus ink, and yeah, and ink, and writing with man's hands. So it's not like we all, but again, it's thoughts and feelings and interpretation coming from man putting onto a 2D piece of paper, right? So just saying, yeah, that's just right. Metaphysics wise, we're just like getting into, because that also has to do with, right, media, right? And so what's printed, right? The printing press, and what's being, right, shoved and put in our face. Do I have battery? Yeah, I'm getting slim. You said you don't need a pinhead just to hang around down on the corner. One's lifetime, one's times. I've known a lot of women in my time. Lifespan, right? So this is like, again, Saturn is in Aquarius. So this is, right, a lot of that life review, right? Again, traveling through time while standing still, and going through our book of life, right? With right, so going through, right, the balancing, just like you would your checkbook. Right, or your whatever, right, etc. So same thing, right? Reconciling your accounts, right? Reconciling. We were just talking about Father Time, come with the Sith, right? Or Rether, the reconcile. So when you put it into context like that, sometimes it's not quite as scary, because it's like, man, it's just shit I gotta, right, go through and fucking do. And the more I do that, the better I feel, and the more clarity I have, right? To like have more freedom and movement, right? Literally, right? Don't let what they're saying on the outside, again, the things that are being pushed and pursued, like, yeah, so they're being thrown out there, but again, within yourself, right? It's like you have to be that balancing key, right? If we're all playing in, right, the orchestra or a band, and we're all on stage, right? It's like we all got to be in tune, or we're all dancing, we got to be in sync, right? Excuse me. So when one of us is out of tune, right, it's like, or playing off key, or not playing to the same, right, in harmony with the others, we're off, right? It affects the rest of, right, the symphony, so to speak, right? So we do our best to, right, like, like in traffic, you got to drive with the flow, put it that way too, right? Um, Different if you're on a boat, right? Different rules on a boat, but there's law, right? There just, and a law doesn't necessarily, again, just because the crosswalk says walk doesn't mean it's okay to walk. You still gotta, right, use your senses and tune in to be in rhythm, right, with what's going on in your now moment and time, right? So the more we adapt to allowing, right, more dimensions, more parts of ourselves to come, and we do the clearing and the alchemizing and the, right, meaning going through the thoughts and the feelings, definitely try to, do the lemon water challenge, because that'll help realkalize your body. You're gonna feel like your skin like tingling. It's like, oh, and it's an inexpensive way to, right, like, get what you need and like rebalance what you gotta, like, your insides, And I drink a lot of tea with ginger root. I put burdock root. I try to make my tea a lot with you guys. I put a little bit of burdock root, which has like, I think it's like 92 minerals. So a little bit of, right, an agave. Agave is an electric, right, sweetener. So if you need a little, well, I don't even always put it, but once on occasion, if I want it a little sweeter, I add the agave. So having the awareness of, right, processed food, or what sugar does to your body, what alcohol does to your body, right? You could not drink alcohol, but, right, most of this, right, world, definitely America, is, again, right, codependent and alcoholic, right? It's behaviorisms. So it's the, right, codependency, right? It's emotional immaturity and spiritual disease, right? Being broken. So again, it's like, right, lots of love. Right, but it's like, what do you call it? Like tough love too, right? It's like creating boundaries. So at the same time, right? Because if a lot of times, like they say, like, right, if you're hanging out with drug addicts or alcoholics, right, then you have more of a chance to, right, you're gonna have more of a chance of doing something with the people that you're hanging out with that are doing something that's more on a, right, more influence, right? And think about that word, influ, right? So disease, right? In the flu, become, right, the little something flying around in us, right? That so being influenced, right? Having another, right, the word implant, thought or words or another sphere being presented, and then right, then we react to it and carry it around as our, right, belief also, like kind of what's going on again now, right? Pandemic, right? So yeah, that's happening, but how many different ways are there to look at that and have understanding and awareness, right? By doing like what I'm doing now, it's taken me forever, but I would suggest you hop on and right, look up the etymology to specific words that come into your mind, into your field, or write them down, throughout time and space, right? Things will pop up. It's like, great. So we have everything at our fingertips available to, right, find what we need in our now moment in time, right, where we're being guided to travel through, right? Again, look at that, right? Like that thread from one hand to the other. It's like balancing the ship on over, right? So allowing ourselves to be that calm. Oh, it's the number of master number of so yeah, and also looking up the metaphysical meaning, right? Like watching it, yeah, let's read that. I'm gonna get look up that etymology of time. How much longer is this? Is this so much longer? Or okay, well, measure the time taken by a process. Now we're in the verb. Hold on. Influential. All right, the successful, fortunate, or influential part of a person's life or career. One's time. The appropriate or expected time for something, in particular, childbirth or death. Right, it's constant death and rebirth. We're constantly, right, like I just, right, killed that one moment and went over to this one, and I'm like, I gotta hurry a little because I'm running out of battery, right? So right, I have a little bit of a, right, so I just killed that moment and came over to this one, right? So does that make me bad? No, I just, right, switched over, right? So it's like a switch in frequency. So again, breaking things down, there, yeah, can it get to other degrees and levels and volumes? Yeah, but I'm just giving an example of, right, like another way to look at it. Or interpret it, right? Interpret, right? It interdimensionally take it apart, right? Before I, right? It's like, oh wait, let me play with that. and use my childlike imagination and my right masculine intelligence and my creative femininity to like come up with more ways I can look at that, so I'm not like walking around acting like part of the problem, right? Part of the V word. I'm not then, right? And carrying around dis-ease and spreading that like butter. Parquet. You know parquet? You know that margarine is one molecule short of being plastic? And then like getting into animal, like all that stuff too, but like there's so many, like, yeah, I remember hearing my friend told me that a long time ago. And it's like one of those things that I will never forget. And my mom always used to try to use margarine, and my nana would always be like, just if you're gonna use something, just use a little of the natural stuff, use the butter. And I always thought that. I was like, yeah, like I always kind of I always agreed with my nana about all that stuff. Sorry, mom. But I'm like, and then later I learned, yeah, it's one molecule short of plastic. I'm like, ew, see? It may not make you fat, but I don't know what it's going to do for you either. Oh, Lord. So, again, knowledge is power. So it's just a matter of like, right, you don't got to buy the bullshit, you know? And and we all have on some level, right? So that's more where we gotta be more giggly and like be able to laugh at ourselves and like laugh at certain situations and what have you. It's like we've all experimented and tried things and done, right? So it's like now it's like, okay, again, going through our book of life, what have we learned in our experiences, right? In this lifetime, and like allowing, right, that valve, because that's what's coming up also, right? Coming up from the unders. And Saturn, Pluto, the underworld, the big father of time, Saturn, right? And Aquarius, the water bearer, we're coming into the age of Aquarius. So this is like boom, boom, boom. This is big. This is the big one. They call it karma tsunami. He even said on the paper yesterday, it was like, this is not a ripple, this is a tsunami. I was like, sorry, it made me giggle. Because again, I'm not giggling because of that. Like, I don't like to see, like, it's like, right, how the lighter, right, it's like we acquire, we acknowledge the lower frequency of stuff, but don't get caught up in it. Because it's a lot harder to dig your way out of hell, right? Time in hell goes way slower than and on earth than when you recognize what time actually is, right? It means so many different things. And the best gift we can give ourselves to one another is to be present in our now moments and not hold on to all the fear and the worry of right? Like the Three Stooges, what of too far in the future, or beat ourselves up from so much of the past. Allow it, and then right, that's probably one of your greatest gifts, to then help another. The struggles that you've had, or the falls that you, right, had over and over again, right? That's what we take and bring into our most precious gift. That becomes our greatest strength, right? So again, the way that we perceive it sucks when we're going through it, right? When it's like, damn, fuck, what we're trying trying to understand something new, or we keep like right said failing, or we keep trying to do better and we keep getting pulled different directions. There's lots of different right scenarios, variables that come into play. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell too. Please, please, please. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Because the more we connect like that, we connect more. So I so appreciate your time and your energy being here, and yeah, thumbs and dingies and yeah, likes and subscribes and all that definitely help to right
open more space up for our soul tribes to come swim together. And the beauty is this will always be here somewhere, floating in space and time. Right? Okay. Where are we at? Okay. Time is allotted, available, or used when people say we need more time. Got purple rain, purple rain. An apprenticeship. All of our foremen served their time on the loading dock, right? Serving one's time. The appropriate or expected time for something, in particular childbirth or death. I already said that. This seemed old before his time. He seemed old before his time. Right? And there's a lot of star seeds here. So again, it's important we nurture our children, which are our ancestors also from the stars, and love and support, allowance, again, love for self. Amethyst is very healing. Gotta just like take that energy in a little bit. Right, purple is also a color of say royalty, but it's like because red and blue also make purple, right? So instead of taking sides, we again are alchemized, right? On native shamans, we say we take the mighty purple path, right? So it's like we see, we're able to witness and have ability to see, and but we don't pick a side. We're not gonna. That's like saying which child you're gonna pick a child or something of your. It's like who just said that? I did, but not me. Like that. So well, people take what we say, or or they say something and we repeat it, and we're like offended because of what they said, and then they've recorded us. Yo, I've had that shit happen, and then they try to make it like we've said something like that. And we were only repeating what they said because it offended us. It was like, why are you saying that? And they pushed us to. I think that had to do also that. See, that's that narcissistic shit I was talking about before. So there's a lot of shit. There's different levels here. So again, discernment and be aware so that you, right? Because there's a lot of, and again, that's just someone that needed a big effing hug, but chose to, play victim in a very negative way. But they weren't given the tools they needed, obviously, right? And none of us were. We don't know until we're given the tools or until someone's like, hey, I understand where the fuck you're coming from, but what you're doing ain't cool. But we have tools for that. Especially all those beings that are doing that shit think they're so tough or they want this power. If you have such said power, then show us that you're willing to do that work, because that's what takes strength and power. I was like, remember in the movie Titanic when Rose is like, I thought of that a long time, and I have, but anyway, but Rose from Titanic, she's like goes downstairs and she's like drinking beer and dancing and what have you, and all the guys start like they're like brawling and fighting and like da 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 whatever, and then she's like, oh yeah, you're also big and tough. She's like, let's see you do this, and she gets up and stands on her tippy toes. All toes. All toes. What I got in battery? I'm gonna probably lose you here, I think. I'm gonna have to. I'm okay for a little bit. I got enough time to finish reading, I think. So this has been fun. I hope you're enjoying. How far are we in? 124? I think it says.
the end of the game. The score 5 minutes from the time. He scored 5 minutes from time. The length of time taken to run a race or complete an event or a journey. His time for the mile was 3:49:31. Time as allotted, available, or used. We need more time. I said that. Prison sentence. He was doing time for fraud. Ribbit. No, I do believe lots of that shit's about to come out. Fraud, manipulation, ribbit. He's in the trap. Forging, falsely identifying or whatever, impersonating. Using our names and our energy and our platforms to, and yeah, go. Okay. An instance of something happening or being done. An occasion. This is the first time I have gotten into debt. Yo, now that time is money and money is time. So if you got lots of money, well, now you got to pay, right? Because you're holding on to the material. That's a crime, right? It's that I owe you, A-E-I-O-U, right on there, right? So that's a debt. How much debt? And then I got credit, and then I don't know, vagabonds, hobo baggins, the bags of bonzins of bucket derpers. Anyway, you know what I'm saying there, burger. Huh. Yeah, so lots of that. Okay. An event, occasion, or period experienced in a particular way. She was having a rough time of it. Following a number, expressing multiplication. 5 goes into 15 3 times. The rhythmic pattern of a piece of music and expressed excuse me, by a time signature. Tunes in waltz time, right, in the rhythm. The tempo of which a piece of music is played or marked to be played. Okay, verb, third person present, times, past tense, timed, past particle, timed, gerund, or present participle, timing. Plan, schedule, or arrange when something should happen or be done. The first track, race, is timed for 11:15. Perform an action at a particular moment. Williams timed his pass perfectly from about 30 yards. Right, timing, which is wisdom, having timing. Measure the time taken by a process or activity or a person doing it. We were timed and given certificates according to our speed. Now, Old English, tima or time of Germanic origin related to tide, which is superseded in temporal senses. The earliest of the current verb senses, dating from the late Middle English, is to do something at a particular moment. So I just read off the screen there. That was just off the screen. Usually, let's see. Old English, time, a limited space time from Proto-Germanic, timon, right? And from timon. Source also of Old Norse time, timi, time, proper time, Swedish time, an hour. From pi, dimon, suffix form of root, da, to divide. And right, like the word like CO, right? Like two or more. And then that other part of the word, right? VID, right? If that's CIV backwards is like divide, right? Because they like to right or left to right or right to left, which way, up to down, down to up, and out. Some of this follow. Right? Abstract sense of time as an indefinite continuous duration is recorded from late 14th C, personified at least since 1509, which 9, 5, 14 plus 1, 5 is 15, so, and which is 6, so 1509 has, right, 15009 frequencies, plus that of 6, 10, right, and equals 15, which is so 6. As an aged bald man, but with a forelock, carrying a scythe and an hourglass in English. A single word encompasses time as extent and point. French temps pois, German Zeitmaß, as well as hour, as in what time is it? Compare French choir, please forgive me. German or extended senses such as occasion, the right time, leisure, or time multiplied by, developed in Old and Middle English, probably as a natural outgrowth of such phrases as, he commends her 100 times to God. To have a good time, a time of employment, was common in English from c. 1520 to 1688. It was APP retained in America when readopted in Britain in 19th century. OED. Time of day. And right, I'm over in the East Coast, right? So New England is another way of saying England, but they, right? So again, you gotta be a little wiser than the serpents and see how they're, right, try to, right, slowly grow their vines up around our trees sometimes. You know what I'm saying? All right. Now mainly preserved in negation, i.e., what someone won't give you if he doesn't like you, was a popular 17th salutation, as in, good time of day, unto your royal grace, Richard III. I don't know what that says. I 18. Hence to give one the time of day. Greet socially. Earlier was give good day. The Times, the current age, is from 1590s. Behind the Times, old fashioned, is recorded from 1831. Times is the name of a newspaper, dates from 1788. I want to say too, like that's another. I've said that before. I mentioned it anyhow. Like as far as like to take someone's time and energy, right? We need to be more cautious of like silly things, like right, like really. It's nicer to say like hi or hey you, rather than walk by someone and say how are you and keep walking. Because now I just opened. It's like how are you, right? So I just open your and then I kind of just pulled your energy with me. So, right, like think about that, like how or play that out with someone, how that feels, right? Um, so unless we're willing to stop and hear how someone's doing, we shouldn't say how are you, right? Just say hi or hey you, right? Or good day, right? However, but a question is opening, right? So it's like it gets so again, we're not perfect. That's like a real deep, subtle one, right? That's a subtle, but that we really don't notice until like, you know, but well, for me anyhow, it was like one of those things. Anyway, let's see. See, time warp. Here goes the time warp again. First attested 1954, time traveling in the science fiction sense, first recorded 1895, 23, so five elements. In the H.G. Wells, The Time Machine. time capsule, first recorded 1938, 21, which is a 3, in reference to the one deemed capable of resisting the effects of time for 5,000 years, preserving an account of universal achievements embedded in the grounds of the New York World's Fair. Jones, archaeologist of AD 5139, 1056, 18 and 9, potters about for a while in the region, which we have come to regard as New York, finds countless ruins, but little of interest to the historian except a calcified direction sheet to something called a time capsule. Jones finds the capsule, but cannot open it, and decides after considerable prying at the lid that it is merely evidence of an archaic tribal ceremony called a publicity gag, of which he has already found many examples. Princeton Alumni Weekly, April 14th, 1939. 22. Where are we? 2022. Some kind of gag going on there. All right. Old English, this is a verb, jatimyan, to happen, befall, from time, meaning to appoint a time of an action, etc., is attested from c. 1300. Sense of, to measure or record the time of, a race, event, etc., is first attested 1660s, related time to time, 1660, 6, 12, 13. So that was kind of boring. Sorry, maybe it was kind of boring. I don't know. That was the etymology of time. I can get more deep into that, but for now, I really wanted to get into the metaphysical. Do I even have? Time. I'm about to. All right, run out of battery. Okay, Middle English from Old French, monnaie, from Latin, moneta, mint, right? Money, originally a title of the goddess Juno. But Juno, if you look into like Roman mythology, etc., in whose temple in Rome money was minted. That'll definitely. I mean, the current medium, money. Oh, I'm on money. I went over to money. I didn't mean to do that. Isn't that funny? Funny. I wanted to go to the metaphysical meaning of time. Money is time, and time is money. Hmm. Oh, that was funny. Something just fell over there. Oh, I have a knock at my door. But you know what? My battery's about to die anyhow. I'm going to pop back on and do the metaphysical meaning of time. And we'll just pray. Let's see, where am I at? Yeah. Bear with me. Good company at my door. See how long. Yeah, I knew there's 2 meanings. Let's see if I can read this quick before we go. It's okay. Metaphysical meaning of time. Metaphysical meaning of time. Meta, outer divisions of time into minutes, hours, days, weeks, and so forth are man-made. From the spiritual viewpoint,
There is no such thing as time in the way that man has come to regard it. With God, 1,000 years are as one day, and one day is as 1,000 years. Got that? Time signifies the measure of events. The events are the main. Thank you so much. Muchas gracias. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. The events are the main thing, and they should always be so recognized, else the measure of them assumes undue importance. Divisions of time signify degrees of unfoldment. Men have gone insane working with Daniel's time and times and a half a time, and other prophecies, such as the 24th chapter of Matthew, trying to calculate by literal interpretation of scripture the date on which the world would come to an end, not discerning the spiritual meaning of these writings. And that's what we're just talking about, right? This whole thing. All this comes from believing man's idea of time to be a reality, right? Believing someone else's words, someone else's, right? Eternity is not an endless number of years, and things that are spiritual and eternal cannot be measured by days and months and years. One can overcome the spirit of hurry by quietly declaring, right, the spirit of hurry, hurry and a fury, by quietly declaring, I am not in bondage to any false idea of time. I, with God, inhabit eternity, and the divine order of God's universe is manifest in my mind and in all my affairs. So deep. That's so good. And I know there's one more. This is the RW, which I'm not sure what RW means in parentheses. This is short. The metaphysical meaning of time. I'll have to look that up after RW because I'm not sure what the other one. Yeah. Anyhow, so time, this is the limitation of man's consciousness of space. A day is a measure of time in the realm of effects. A sidereal day is that period in which the earth rotates once on its axis. Man divided that period into seconds, minutes, hours, and thus invented time, right? And that word invented is mad important to be cautious of when people use the word like created, right? Invented, made, right? Named, labeled, right? Called. So there's a lot of different, right? Words that get said quickly, right? Again, the spirit of hurry. Don't allow, right, the so that words just go again, like I told you about the right, like I shared with you about the what they when in court, right? It's like the legally, it's like hurry, hurry, which that's no secret. We all know that, right? It's like hurry, hurry, you feel flustered and hurried, and then we all so that's just a really good example. It's like, you know, or anybody, if you did anything wrong or not, you have sirens come up behind you. It's like it, right? It makes you the sirens, right? So it puts the fear of, right, God in us. It puts the fear of the Lord in us, and not God, right? The Lord, which LAWWWD, right? Lord, right? So again, just be careful of what you allow to, right, hold, right, as, right, work with rather than, right, above or under or coming at an angle. Try best, right? Try our best to come from that place. So, but we're all, yeah, we're all messy. We're all gonna, you know, we're all different. So it's like it's tempering. It's gonna be, yeah, you know, 44444. Just okay. So man divided that period into seconds, minutes, hours, and thus invented time. Time is the measure that man gives to passing events. The only power in time is what man imparts to it. When man gets into the understanding of the absolute, he takes his freedom from all bondage of time and declares that time shall no more enter into the substance of his mind or body or affairs. And so I'm so happy we got to finish reading that too. 1 hour and 45 minutes. All right. So thank you so much for your time and energy and hanging out with me, literally, right? And this is how we just like, and let this energy that's here just keep, right, constantly being that place of, yeah, movement, right? And a place of love and a place to connect and take what resonates and leave the rest. All right. Thank you again so much. And please like, subscribe, and hit the belly bell. And I'll see you next time.